Now I would like to call upon Shri Kishor Jagirdar, President, Vision Karnataka Foundation, who has been instrumental to the organization's journey. I request him to deliver his talk on this topic. I would like to welcome him with a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir.
A very good morning to all of you, and it's a pleasure to be here. I will be speaking about the work that we have done with regards to the startup ecosystem combined with the agriculture business corridor that we have built in Karnataka, and how this is integrating and creating an ecosystem, and what would be the outcome of this in the way forward. So I do not have any presentation to make on the screen, but I would like to talk to you and interact with you on a one-to-one with this idea. Now, the whole thought about agriculture, where people are leaving the farming and going into the cities and seeking employment, where farmers with farming technology, knowledge, experience, skill sets are moving into cities where they feel alienated, and then they look for jobs like security guard or maybe a taxi driver or something which which is totally not related to what they were experienced about. So now, while this trend was happening, we were trying to understand how do we look at this in an innovative way? How do we solve this problem with some kind of innovation that can integrate this kind of a trend with a huge potential? Now, going way forward, we realized 2020 and post 2020, the entire year will be, or the decade will be focused largely on what would be the outcome that will come from agriculture and agriculture related innovations and various other related allied sectors that are connected to agriculture. Because there is a large vacuum is what we came out with as a report. Now, this is an economic trend that whenever we see that there is a large gap or a vacuum, obviously the next wave that will come will be largely addressing this as a solution. So we built the agri-business corridor right from the district of Chamarajanagar to the district of Belgaum and connecting to Kolhapur in Maharashtra. So this entire corridor that we are talking about is river-fed territories which largely facilitate the producer organizations. So what we did is we created an open architecture model where the people who had left the villages and farming, and during the COVID, they had gone back to these villages. So there was, we were talking about distress migration earlier. Now we were talking about reverse migration. So how do you integrate this and with the startup ecosystem? Now, while this entire process was going on, we integrated all the educational institutions in this corridor, and we gave them the startup challenge of the problem statements which come from what is not working or how can we double the farmer's income, and then ensure that there is an innovative idea that comes around that. So we brought all the educational institutions who are responsive to this and gave them to work on this and developed an incubation cell there along with the institution, partnered with them, funded them, and then in the process came up with ideas which is path-breaking and is providing incremental growth for the farmers' production. Now, while we were doing this, we looked at this concept of food park. If you look at the concept of food park from the last 20 years, we have been talking about 300 crore minimum investment, and then minimum 100 acres land, and lots of equipments like cold storage, which takes about 10 crore investment. Who are going to be the users? And how do you sustain such an idea? Now, over a period of 10 to 15 years, what we have seen, the struggle itself to implement that goes to almost 1.5 decades. And after that, we realize that these innovations are not sustainable. So what we did is we broke down the food park concept into small modular solutions, innovative solutions, and these solutions were developed by the incubators in this corridor from the educational institution with the students' help. And when we created these startups which provide this solution and go forward towards creating an economy around that. So we commercialized it. Now, one example I'll give of cold storage. Normally it takes 10 crore investment, and only a rich farmer can be able to use it. What about the remaining set of the population? So when we talk about cold storage now with the students' innovation, it is all about 6 feet, 20 feet, 10 feet kind of innovation which can be mounted on a vehicle, and it can be actually taken to the doorstep of the farm where the produce is picked up. And also it is connected to the market linkage, and this is connected with fintech solutions. So at the end of the day, what happens here, the 40% to 50% of the produce that the farmer is losing in terms of transportation, adding to the transportation cost, and also the wastage because of the perishable commodities is now being saved, and then the farmer gets a lot of extra income. At the same time, these small innovations have now become a gig economy of its own, where you don't have to worry about the industrial policy or the limitation of the industrial policy, but you can establish this just like a micro enterprise where someone takes this innovation or technology, deploys it next to the farm, and helps in the food processing or the any value add that can be done. It could be the solar dryer machines which enable the life cycle of the farm produce to be increased, or it could be anything that can add value further to the quality of the byproducts and the produce. So if you look at the whole thing, rural startups with NRLM, that is the National Rural Livelihood Mission. Along with that, we set up various rural startups. Then along with that, we also created student innovation clusters where students came with ideas, and these ideas were converted into clusters, and these clusters are being funded under the Spurti scheme, Government of India, and we are giving a grant of about 5 crore to each cluster, where the students focus on how they can create local economies contribution through these collaborative exotic combination of innovations. Now, while this is happening, we looked at what are the local resources are available in abundance. Now, for example, if I say about banana, lots of territories have bananas in large number, but once the fruit is extracted, the stem of the banana is thrown away as waste. So what we did, we converted these rural startups and student innovation activity to correlate with this and look at creating common facility centers, and these common facility centers actually take the harvesting of these raw materials which are considered as waste into the next level economic activity, where you talk about producing diabetic juice from the stem of the banana or the yarn from the stem of the banana, and then you also talk about ropes and various other products, fabrics out of this. So there's a whole lot of new economy that is created from the waste which normally was considered as waste. So similarly, we have supported the government of Karnataka in the jute cluster and various other clusters that we have set up. So overall, in Karnataka, we have set up about 90 clusters, and all these are dovetailed with the rural startup model, where students who have done their MBA or students who have done their engineering, while they are still in the study, are able to create solutions, become part of the solution implementation, and then start earning during that period as well, and then get the taste of entrepreneurship, and then convert that into a startup which addresses the local challenges. Now with this, the whole concept of agribusiness corridor today, thanks to COVID, which accelerated this idea, and we were able to grow 10 times during the COVID. We also were able to push along with the Rotary International a project where we assisted in identifying about 500 locations in Karnataka, and these were all educational institutions. Most of them were funded by the government, run by the government, the first grade government colleges, which normally is not considered as a part of the startup policy. The startup policy largely focuses on what you can do for technical educations and also the infrastructure in technical education, and the entire dimension of activity is structured around that. So what we did was we went a little way out of this and looked at considering what we can do with the youth from the BCom, BSc and BBA students, MBA students, who can be assisted in the problem solving activity, and how we can engage this population as well. So with the support of Infosys, Cisco and two other organizations, we were able to create computer centers. That is, we deployed computers, Pentium 6 and Pentium 7 latest versions, and we were able to create multi-skill innovation incubation launch pads in all these places that we implemented. So I am very happy and delighted to tell you that today what we did during the COVID has paid off, and in the next 2 months the government will be also participating in this process, where we are talking about the largest aggregated incubation network in the country from Karnataka, with about 560 incubation facilities, all working with sector-specific, domain-specific activity, involving having an inclusive approach of all the curriculums that are there in these institutions, and trying to work on a common strategy of how you can bring district development with the district skill set, and also with the district problem statements. So with this, my dear friends, I would like to just make a closing remark that at the end of the day, 47 million youth surplus population has emerged out of this country during the COVID time. Out of this 47 million, 12 million is likely to be largely emerging from Karnataka, because we have the largest education corridor in the country, and people from all over the country come here to get their higher education. Now, the remaining part of the population of the youth is divided and spread all over the country. Now, this 47 million surplus youth population, what I'm talking about, when I say surplus, the word itself means that there aren't any jobs available to accommodate these 47 million youth surplus population. They are outside the scope of the job market. So therefore, what do we do with such a big population? Unless we engage them through the incubation process, unless we give them kind of problem solving statements and make them work and channelize their energy into something creative, something constructive, which will bring to the overall national growth, these youth will then become destructive if left alone, and it will lead to a lot of chaos. So therefore, from Karnataka, we have taken this leadership, and I am very happy to say that these 500 odd institutions where we have put our incubators and the network that we have built is largely cooperating in this thought process of converting this youth power into something very constructive that can be replicable and adaptable all over the states, across other states, as a model example. So with this, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share this with you. So I leave you with this thought of what I shared, and we are also open to sharing the model how we created with you in case you would like to apply anywhere in your institution. Thank you very much.